the next technique is 2 circulars. So I'll be using both 32-inch long circulars, but you don't have to. For the 2 circulars technique, the needle points, the needles themselves need to be the same size, of course, so you get the same gauge all the way around. In this case, I'm using Foursquares and round needles, so they look different, but they're the same. But the length of the cords can be any length, it doesn't matter. I mean, long enough to fit your stitches, but if you use 2 16-inch, that should be fine also. So what I'm gonna do to set up for that method is knit half of the stitches. And this is just approximately half. When I say half, I don't mean you have to count exactly half. It can be just approximately half. Onto the other needle right now. So I'm just gonna do that right now to set it up. So now that I have these next to each other, I'm realizing I was wrong. They are different lengths. So one is 24 and one is 32. Again, it doesn't matter. They can be any length. But it is good and recommended for your needles to be different here, your 2 circulars. So I'm using one Sunstruck and one Foursquare because they're very obviously different from each other. It's recommended that you use different colors or different types or something, because then it's easier to keep track of which is which, or different cable colors too. The needles can be the same if the cables are different. Anyway, that's what I have going on here. So to do the 2 circulars method, you're basically going to knit 1/2 across one needle from the same needle onto the same needle, and then you're going to knit the other half on the other needle from the same needle onto the same needle. But you're going to go around and around with the yarn traveling in a circle. So put the needle that's ready to knit into, the yarn is right here, so I'm going to knit in these stitches, and I'm going to put the needle into the stitches ready to go, and then I'm going to grab the other end of that same needle. So whatever needle is in the stitches, that's the needle I'm going to knit onto. I'm going to grab the yarn from the other side, pull it across, make sure it's pulled snug across, and just knit across that half. So this is very similar to Magic Loop right now, where I'm just knitting half of the stitches across in a straight line. I'm just going to do that right now. Alright, so here I'm reaching the end of that first half. I also happen to be reaching the end of my yarn, so ignore that. So I've knit across that first needle. Now I can pull it out and just let it sit loose on the cord, because now I'm going to turn and knit across the other half of the stitches across the other needle. So I'm going to pull the left side of this needle, well, depending on the non-working side of this needle that I'm going to knit onto. I'm going to push this side into the stitches that are ready to be worked. So the yarn is right here. It should be longer than that. And I'm going to pull that across and just knit from the same needle onto the same needle, same as I did before. Yeah, so that's the 2 needles method. You're just going to knit across needle A, across needle B, just back and forth, around and around. And